Good morning. Alright, today I'll be stripping down a Unitas ETA 6497 watch movement. It's been rebranded as an ETA movement, so I'm hoping you enjoy the strip down. I will be making a second part to this video where I'll reassemble and test the watch, regulate and test the watch. So this is a complete strip down of a Unitas 6497 movement from a vintage Solar watch. The Solar watch was from the 30s, maybe the 40s. Beautiful little watch. This is the watch that we are talking about, so please enjoy the video, and I'll be seeing you really soon. Alright, let's remove the balance cock from this watch. It's very small, so I doubt if it's going to reach the bottom of this. But I'll use the small balance cock holder, as I've got two of them. And I've got this little tray I made in a lathe. I made a video on that. And that tray is meant for holding that screw that you always end up losing. So that was the intent of that tray. So let me just get in here. I believe everything is nice and tight now, so I'd use the right screwdriver, probably. Did I say I was not going to reach over? I ended up reaching over with the wrong hand and removing it, so. This is my watch, by the way, in case you're going to criticize everything. Man, the screw is so tight. It's not wanting to move at all. I don't want to strip it either, because that would be bad. Get back the screwdriver again here and see what happens. I know this watch has been like, it's like really old. Here we go. Wow, that was tough. Hope the rest of the screws aren't the same. So here, lift that up, and then as you can see, I got a little bit of ticking there, which is always good. I think I can probably just reach under here. Do it properly here. Let's go in here and grab it. I've seen people grab the whole thing like that and lift it up, but I think I first have to loosen it from the side here and back here, like that, and then if I grab it from here, there we go. Man, that's pretty springy. I may end up having to put the mat down for this and rest it on the mat. I'll put it over like this, and then turn that around like that, and with any luck that'll stick on the end here. See if I've made this thing small enough. There we go. So that fits. That goes a long way down. Don't like that. You know, I really hate that digital watch I've got that makes noise every 10 o'clock or 10:30 every morning. So I may rest this on a different balance cock. I've got another one here that I don't think this will be any lower though. So yeah, because I don't want to stress the balance. So there we go. Move it all over, and then that spring is still stressed pretty low. I'm not sure if it's the spring or what, but it's pretty low, which I don't like. Not sure what else I can do to raise that up, but it's like my wife kept saying, just put a washer on it or something. use a washer. There, now it's sitting sitting on a little mat here, like that, on the balance cock, but it is very small and I don't want to stress that, like have it dangling there for a week, so I may have to put washers on that or something, or just make a finer, take some material off the balance cock. This is the first one I made, so I could take more material off of this part here so it goes down further and then it rests properly here. So, because I don't think I tried it for a small watch yet, so there you go. There you go. There you go. Now these guys here, I'm trying not to reach over while I'm chatting away here, but I believe, let me see if the power is off this watch. The power is off the watch. Oh, shut up. God. That little beeper. All I got to do is actually set the time on it. It wouldn't bug me so much, so. I don't know if the power's off. Yeah, I think most of the power's gone here. Yeah, that's gone. That's it. That's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. It's got to be the morning after, if you could work on through the night. See, they've got caps on all of these wheels too. Cap jewels on all these wheels. So I'm thinking this movement is fairly high end, because they wouldn't normally have that, right? So it's I think it's a higher end movement. Hard to tell. Hard to tell. I have to move my camera because I seem to want to do the work right here. So if that's the case, I just have to move my camera up a bit like that. And then we're good as gold, right? We're good as gold, Jerry. Good as gold, and it's dangling on a gooseneck. So that's why you're seeing it go back and forth like that. I don't know what direction this thing goes in, but all I know is that it's stiff as hell. Bigger screwdriver. May have never been taken off. There we go. Don't want to scratch it. Easy does it. Easy does it, boy. Easy does it. Easy does it. Having a hard time grabbing things today. There we go. Got it. Need to get that balance out of the way. I'm gonna hit it with my hand or something, right? The easiest way to grab these things is actually just to pluck down on it with some Rodico. Usually it comes up. That almost worked. I still think there was a little pressure left in that spring, because it went like that. This is a Sunday activity. So usually when the screw is not showing you that it's the other direction, it's this direction. I'm not getting any indication. Oh, no, it's the other direction. So it's clockwise to loosen, but there's no indication on the screw. And often there is indication on the screw. But so much for often. All right, there we go. And I don't believe, is there a ring on that? I think so. I think last time I did something like this, the ring was there and I didn't realize it. All right, that's not too bad. And I just need to loosen the plate here. Again, these screws are very alright, so I got that one. Again, very tight. I know there's people that do all three screws and then take it off, but I kind of like to do them and get them out of the way. But my screwdriver is probably, it might be the wrong one, but alright, that's working. Just take them off and drop them down. It says there's 2 adjustments on this watch, which means probably face up and face down, or face up and pennant up, maybe. Because you know, normally a watch would be, the face would be up, right, if you're laying it on your dresser or something, right? So the face is up, and then let's switch screwdrivers here. Normally the face would be up on your watch, and then if you've got it in your pocket, then the pennant is up. This thing loose? Good Lord, these screws are so friggin' tight. That screw is way too tight. Oh, I'm afraid to strip the stupid thing. That's what happens when a watch has not been serviced for 100 years. I know it hasn't been 100 years, but it's close. I don't want to have to actually I'm pressing down super hard, but nothing's happening. Alright, I'm turning the camera off to work on this. God. Alright, I got it loosened here. It's quite the job. I'll have to look at that screw again. I think I marred it just a tiny bit. It's not good, but so be it, right? So now this screw is a different size than this one here, so which would imply that this center one here is smaller. So I've got to pay attention to that. Maybe I'll review the video again later and remind myself. Now this should just come up, and you want to lift it up where it's not visible, so there's no scratch marks. So you want to just, there's a groove right back here, I think, but I do a lot of pocket watches and not a lot of watches, but I was very proud of my work on, I've done a Rolex Tudor and I've done a Rolex, so I'm not a total slouch here. And the Rolex I did about a month and a bit ago, it turned out really, really good. I got an amazing amplitude on that and cleaned her up nicely, as they say. So there you go, that's the inner workings. I'm going to be smart now and just take a quick photo of that, just so I have a documentation of what it might look like when I put it back together again. And, there we go. 2 photos, ladies and germs. And I can probably remove this, but maybe I don't want to, eh? Oh, you know what? To take the stem out, you got to loosen the screw on the other side. Let me just do that later, okay? Stop arguing with me. So I'm going to just remove this plate here, try to anyway. Oh my God, these screws are so hard to remove. I'm using all the kung fu I have too. Now if these ones are the wrong size as well, I'm going to be mad. That's one. I know this baby's going to be tough to put back together again as well. But I think part one of the video will be the disassembly, so you can not have like a 2-hour, 2.5, 3-hour video on this. So I'm looking at the screws and I think they're exactly the same, which is nice, as opposed to that other one, which I think the center screw is different. So, and now I'll just edge this up here. And see if I can grab this like that. Here we go. There's the plates. And if you look on the inside here, this is very interesting. So let me just move this back here for a second. If you look at that closely, let me switch cameras, but there's screws holding the cap, the jewels in place from the other side. So these look like pressed in jewels. Probably use what C's jeweling tool. Pressed in jewels with a cap jewel on the other side as a one single unit. So that's going to be interesting. So I'm going to zoom in on that in a few seconds, but after I remove the wheels maybe. Or I'll zoom in on it now. Let's just do a zoom here. I'll switch cameras and zoom. How's that for your zooming? Alright, there's a look there. As you can see, there's 3 screws there, and those screws actually go up through the plate, and if you look on the other side, they enter the cap jewel part of the plate, so they're going into the cap part. I'll look into that microscope to make sure that's not a combined cap and jewel, but I don't think it is. It looks like the jewels are pressed in. Let me zoom that again, see if I can zoom into that again. Yeah, it looks like those jewels are pressed in jewels, and those 3 screws are used. Let me hand it away so you can get a little bit more light. And they basically screw that plate on from the other side, which is kind of cool. So that's how that works. Alright, we're back here again. So I took out the cannon pinion earlier, and I'm just wondering, I'll take just another photo of this. Oh, those Swiss people. They're so smart. Remember I told you I was half Swiss? That's why I'm saying that right now. So there's the second wheel, and there's the third wheel, or intermediate wheel, or whatever you want to call it. There's the seconds wheel coming out here. And then there is the escapement. Very carefully taking that out as well. Putting that aside, and then I've got the mainspring barrel coming out. I'll show you what that stuff looks like after. And then I've got the pallet fork here. I need to get that out. Now, interesting, there's only one screw holding that pallet fork in position, so this is going to be an interesting. Got it. Now what's cool is that I can put as much downward pressure on this as I want because of this super good movement holder. It just doesn't move at all once it's in here, and it's not even in tight. It's just in snug. And it doesn't cause a problem at all. So I'm going to put a toothpick down here while I do this so that it just doesn't come out wrong and bend the pallet, or bend the pivot of the pallet fork. Now you guys all saw that book that I reviewed. I really need to know whether you want me to review the book that the Chicago School of Watchmaking book. Get in at an angle here. Smaller screwdriver. This is the smallest one I have. I think what's happening is I'm riding it up. So I was basically on the wrong plate. So there we go. There's the that's a jeweled as well. So this is super jeweled watch. And then take the pallet fork out straight up, hopefully. There we go. And it's between the banking pins nicely. And I'm going to have a look at these jewels, but I suspect they're in excellent condition. So the last thing I want to do, I'll flip this thing over very carefully. I'm holding this on the edge so I don't get too many fingerprints in here, but flip this over like this, and then let's remove some of this stuff. I'm going to get a close-up photograph of this because these sometimes are so difficult to put back together. I just need more experience maybe, or more time, or more whatever. But the watch ones feel more difficult than the ones I do for pocket watches. They just seem more difficult. Maybe they are more difficult. I'm going to use a flash here. Bam! And let's see what that looks like. So when I zoom in on that, I get this, right? So this gives me a good idea of where things need to be. And I just take a mental note of that as well, so I don't forget. So first thing I need to do is remove the this here. So in these watches here, can I zoom in more, or do I want to zoom in more? 'Cause that's a lot of zoom, man. That is a lot of zoom. Yeah, in these watches, this screw here, or this screw right here, is pushing this arm down to keep this in. Someone told me you never remove these unless they're in like that, right? There's a spring there as well that I have to deal with, and this here. So first I'm going to take the stem out, and I screwed up because I believe I have to. I've never taken one of these apart before, so it's always an adventure. So I have to. This little screw here, right there, needs to be loosened. So I'm going to zoom out a bit, and maybe switch cameras so you can get a better. Alright, there's a totally different angle. It's actually using a totally different camera as well, so I just wanted to have that angle as I loosen the top here so you guys can see that the screw being loosened. I'm not sure if that's very exciting, but I figured you know, you got to capture your interest doing these videos. So in this case I should be, let me see, tightening it or loosening it. I don't know. Should be loosening it, I think. I need a thinner screwdriver too to do this. Thinner screwdriver. Thinnerscrewdrivers.com. Again, this screwdriver, these screws are, there we go. So that, if I turn that a few times, that brings the plate up. So then you just have to grab this with your fingernail and pull it out if the plate's properly turned up. If it's not, it's going to be put in time setting mode. So actually, before I do that, I'm going to try something here. So I'm going to turn this around, and I'm actually going to put it into time setting mode to watch the action of the setting mechanisms. That way I can see what's going on when I do that, right? So I'm just going to do this, and I'm not sure you guys can see that or not, but I'm going to be, my movement holder is going to be hitting all my plates in a second. So there we go. So now I grab this here, and if I pull that out, there we go. That's showing the action of the of this particular beastie. It also shows where I need to oil it as well. So I might get that from the top too. Alright, there's my close-up. So I had to adjust cameras and everything to do this. So what I'm going to do now is pull that stem out and look at that action. See what that does. Tighten this up a bit and grab that with my guitar fingernails and pull that out. And there you go. I could let this camera settle down a bit, but I've got a gooseneck on here that's pretty long, and where it's resting I don't think it'll ever settle down. So you pull that down and then just do it a few times here. So that shows the action here of that of this camera, or of this stem. And then I will probably go back to my other camera for disassembly, but if I look at this closely, what I want to do first is get this out of here. So again, like I did before, if you screw that up, it should get it out of the way. So you just need to flip that around like so, and then I almost lost control of it for a second, like that. And then you just remove this, or you loosen or tighten. I think tighten the screw here. And see if that did anything for me. Push that in, make sure it's in the in mode, as the folks have told me. It's too shiny to see, actually. Now you gotta loosen it this way. There, that should be out of the way now. It's funny, it's bouncy, so I perhaps have to push down on that, well, because that gets the plate out of the way. There we go. And there's the stem there. Just put that down and move that up. Then I'm going to tighten this again so I don't lose that plate. And I'm not sure whether I'll take that out or not, but I probably should, but I might not. So there you go. And then throw the components down here. I think this is called a crown wheel. Crown wheel? No, the ratchet wheel. So this is the ratchet wheel, I believe. I believe I can fly. I think R. Kelly is in trouble right now. So we hear on all the rags. There. This is a super duper close up, eh, folks? So I'll tighten that up a bit. As you can see, even the roundness of this conforms to the watch, so it's kind of cool. That was already loose. And when you go to watch school, I think they check the dexterity of your fingers for grabbing screws and stuff. I think I'm okay, even though I'm plus years, not super plus, I guess. I'm not repeating too many stories these days. Although that screw just decided to jump out because it has no other place to go. And again, I'll try to make sure that the plates and everything line up properly. Later on, put that down here. And I can take out the minute wheel here. Straight up for the minute wheel, and then this little minute wheel ratchet gear or whatever. I always check to see if these are beveled as well, because if they're beveled, then they got to go in a different way. And it is beveled a bit, and they're always beveled downward, or they seem to be always beveled downward. You can also check where the wear mark is on it too, to see which way it goes, because there's usually a wear mark of some sort. And this stuff just comes off, so I don't want to lose my springs and other things. So this is something that just pops up, I probably should try to pop it up from the other side. There, it's out of the spring, and now I just pull that up. Try to pull that up. And I'm going to leave this guy in place, I think, or maybe not, don't know. Anyway, and there's the spring here. Now the question is, do I take the spring out? Yeah, I should take the spring out. Do I take the spring out with using Rodico on the side so it doesn't fly all over the place? Because I don't want to lose it. That's also a yes. There we go. Spring is out. Spring is sprung. And then the last thing I got to take out is this here, right? And then after I got to do work on the cap jewels. So I may leave that in. Just flip it around here, have a look at it. There you go. So that's, I got zoomed in pretty good there. So you zoom that out a bit, less shaking, and flip back to the other camera. I'll show you where the other camera is set up when I do this. Alright, there's the parts in millions of pieces that I need to be cleaned, and I need to examine the jewels. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. Alright, there's the back plate of this watch. That would be the face side. And as you can see, I'm going to try to keep that in focus. The jewels are pressed in on this watch. So, and it's like I said, it's an automatic movement. So that's that side of the plate, and if I flip that over, there's the other side of the plate, and it looks like it's got a small Swiss identifier, I believe, for the company. I'm going to try to do this. This is very difficult. So up is down, down is up. So it's right here. That's the identifier, so I'm going to have a look at that and see what that means, and maybe ask some folks online so I can make sure it's properly identified. And there's a number here, so which would be the movement number, which might allow me to figure out the lineage of this particular movement. So there are all the parts that need to be cleaned, all nicely organized here. And what I'll do is I still have to strip the barrel, take the barrel apart, and take the mainspring out of the barrel and clean that. And I also have to take these jewels out by unscrewing. You just flip that guy over. I got to undo these screws here, which is going to be done under my microscope, to remove the caps from that, and then clean the jewels and then oil it and replace the caps. So there's some microscope work to be done here. I don't have the capability to really have the capability to zoom in on the microscope work that well, although I may try later. And then I clean it and reassemble it and get it running. I may make a reassembly video. I know it's always easier to make a video taking things apart than putting them back together, but I've done many of these, so I'm sure you can appreciate that. So this is a solar watch, solar, there it is there, Swiss solar. Let me turn that around so you can read it properly. There we go, Swiss solar watch. Pretty cool old watch and pretty cool old case. I'm just going to keep working on that until I get it refreshed. Alright, today you saw the strip down of the Unitas 6497 movement, rebadged as an ETA movement nowadays. So there are other variants of this movement as well. It was in a solar watch. I showed you a little shot of it earlier. Boxcar design, I think they called it, or railroad train design or something. But anyway, square watch, probably from the 30s or 40s, where those designs were more prevalent. It was not that difficult, with the exception of some of the screws having been in there a long time and having to try to release the tension on those screws was very difficult. I had to put a lot of pressure, but I got to use my new Myers MEYERS universal movement holder. This thing is so good. I swear by it now. So anyway, I was allowed to put a lot of pressure. It allowed me to put a lot of pressure on those screws in order to turn them well and not have to worry about worry about any slipping or the movement rocking off. Anyway, so hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be making the part 2 video of the assembly and testing of this watch at a later date, probably tomorrow. Not sure. Depends what I have to do this afternoon. It all depends what I have to do this afternoon.